I'm Kirly-Sue and I'm doing an Instagram live now, and I'm going to be joined shortly by Pablo Rios from Adventist Universities, and today we're going to be talking about plant-based diets in schools and colleges and universities. What are the benefits of it? So I'm just going to wait for Pablo to jump online. Just make sure this is the right way round for you guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna put in what it's about so anyone who joins us later would be able to see it, what we're talking about. Just doing that. Yes, I'm going to pin that comment, and then we're going to, one second. Yeah, we're going to be talking about if you're a plant-based diet in schools. Hello, welcome to Georgia Born, and also Samaran. So I'm really bad with pronouncing the name. Samaran Delisle joined, you know, the other person just joined us. Welcome to the Instagram live. I'm going to try and set the camera a bit better so you can see me. Is that okay for you guys to see? Just give me a wave if that's okay. So I'm just waiting for Pablo to join us. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments section, and I will be answering the questions today. Anything you have about a plant-based diet, or if you have questions about myself, and also about a plant-based diet in schools. Now, fair enough, it would be fine for me if they had vegan food when I was at school. I would have been delighted, but you know, it doesn't always work that way. But is it that it will be good to introduce it to schools, or should they have a different choice? Because I find that sometimes when they have vegan options in schools, the options are not that amazing. Okay, so Adventist University has joined. So let me see how, I'm going to try and figure out how I get here. Yep. 1 second, let me just get Adventist Universities to jump online. So that should split the screen. Can you hear me still? Just waiting for Instagram to do its thing so that we're both on.
There you go.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, very good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, and I can see you as well, but I can't see myself, but that's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Sideways, maybe. Turn the camera. I think I need to turn my camera. Yeah, I can see you now too. So we've got online already, and I've pinned it in the comment. Plant-based diets in schools, colleges, and universities. Welcome to Azamond, who's just joined. We've got a few people joining us. So tell me a little bit about what it is you do.
Okay, well, my name is Pablo, and we have a ministry that we are talking about what Adventist universities have to offer. What we are doing is creating a platform where our people, young people around the world, can find more information about opportunities for education around the world from Adventist universities. So we try to encourage people to search more opportunities overseas, especially from Europe and the US, where they can travel overseas and benefit from the difference that it is being part in Adventist education.
Okay, and tell me about the plant-based diets that are offered. I mean, I'm an Adventist myself, as you probably know. So, okay. So I know that our Adventist, for those of you who are not familiar, Adventism is a Christian religion, and all of our schools, colleges, and universities around the world offer a plant-based diet. So that's what we wanted to talk a bit more about today. That what are the benefits of having a plant-based diet in schools, colleges, and universities? What would you say the benefits are, Pablo?
Correct. So as you go around the world, you see that in every school, they have the plant-based diet, and many of the students where I have traveled, they always ask the question, why? Of course, cafeterias in any school is not the best talking point in a school. Most
No.
students, maybe when I was myself, we always complain about the food, we always complain about the cafeteria, and I'm sure it's the case in most places. But still, the question now is, what is the goal, or what is that doing to our young people? Is there a benefit in having a plant-based diet? And how is it that students going to universities, Adventist universities around the world, how do they benefit from having a plant-based diet? Not only the benefits of the health benefits of it itself, but maybe we can talk about also what it does to their education part. How does education and being introduced to that kind of health lifestyle changes their academic performance and their professional performance eventually?
Right. So do you have any statistics or any facts in terms of how it benefits people to have a plant-based diet whilst they're studying?
Well, the research is quite strong. They have a number of research that actually points to healthy living as one of the results of having a plant-based diet. So I will not discuss, maybe I will not argue about it, because you say that it is a well-known fact. I can cite a number of different academic researchers and well-validated scientific proof that a plant-based diet can be beneficial. Maybe what I will argue is, how is that being implemented in a school? How are students that are going to our academic institutions that are presented with this opportunity, how are they impacted by it? Because not necessarily having a plant-based diet is all about healthy living. One article that I came across talks about how a vegetarian meal can sometimes actually be, if not implemented properly, can actually be detrimental to your health.
Well,
so,
the purposes of this Instagram Live, when we say plant-based diet, we mean a whole food plant-based diet, because we know that there's plenty of vegan food. Because people say to me, well, if you only eat vegan food, then everything you eat must be healthy. And I say, well, if you have French fries fried in sunflower oil, it's not healthy, but it's not healthy. So I think there's a misconception that people have that everything that is vegan or plant-based is healthy, and as you just pointed out, it's not. So I think I always try to promote a whole food plant-based diet, and then that's when you get the rich benefits that you can from having a plant-based diet. I think having a plant-based diet, people who switch from a meat-eating and fish-eating diet to a plant-based diet, hello to everybody logging in, I can see you all. I Love Natural, Didi, Montano, welcome to everybody logging in. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below. If you have a whole food plant-based diet, people who make the transition, they say that it tends to make them feel a lot lighter, and it's obviously less stress on the body in terms of the digestion. So because to digest meat, particularly like things like beef and steak and stuff like that, is much harder for the body to digest than, say, regular just fruits and vegetables. So there is a balance there. In terms of university, when you're at university, you have to do a lot of reading, as you know, you have to do a lot of thinking. You have to use your brain power a lot more. So if you're having foods that cloud your brain and your thinking, it's not really going to help you to, perform in the best way that you possibly can. But I think going for some people, when you say plant-based, they get a bit scared and think, oh no, I must have my chicken, or must have my this and that. But I would always say, if you're not familiar with a plant-based diet, and you're not already on a plant-based diet, then I'd suggest phasing it in, having some options. So if you're at school or university or college and you want to kind of test it out, then try having one meal a day to start with that's vegan. So maybe just have your breakfast, have everything in your breakfast vegan. You can Google some vegan recipes. You can look on my Instagram page. There's lots of recipes on there. So if you start with that, I think that will help you quite a lot. But do you think that some people would think it's unfair if schools or universities only serve plant-based diets?
Well, that is actually where I was going. I wanted, and that's the discussion I think that is very, very good to have, is that in many cases, in most cases, our institutions, universities, and colleges will actually promote a vegetarian meal, but not necessarily a plant-based diet. So where I think a lot of our listeners or viewers can benefit is actually looking at not only what is being offered, but how can students choose from what is being offered so they can take the most out of it. As you pointed out, in our institutions, in most universities, you have the option to choose from a variety of foods. All of them can be vegetarian per se, but not all of them will be plant-based. And the combination of the different foods, although they are vegetarian, they're not necessarily working out to the benefit of the students or the best performers in the academic life.
Okay, so everybody tuning in, Husayim, Melody 87 and so forth, thank you for logging in. Please put your questions in the comment section below, and please follow me on Instagram and follow Adventist Universities on Instagram as well. We're talking today about plant-based diets in schools, colleges and universities. I did read about a school in America. It's an elementary school that the entire menu, it's not an Adventist school, by the way, and it's not a religious school at all. The entire menu is vegan. I think the benefit of doing that is vegan food tends to have less items in there that people are allergic to, so it makes it much more of a wider, makes it more inclusive. So if people are allergic to dairy, it's fine. If they're allergic to whatever, not everything, but a lot of things that people are allergic to, you don't necessarily find them in a vegan diet. Some of them you can, because some people are allergic to nuts, but in general it makes it much wider. Also, if you're serving a multicultural group of people from different religions, I went to a children's event once. I was babysitting my friend's kids, and I said, oh, these children, they don't eat meat, so do you have any burgers that are not meat? And they said, actually every single burger is not meat, because we know that some of the children are Muslim, and we know that some are vegan, vegetarian. So we thought, you know what, just make all the burgers so that everyone can eat any burger. So things are really good. I think for schools that, you know, a lot of schools have people from different backgrounds. I think that will help people to, you know, feel that they can have more options on a particular menu. I wish I went to a school or college that was vegan. I wish I did. Maybe I'd, yeah, I wish I did, because what I find is that the options sometimes in schools that don't have a complete plant-based diet, options they have are either just one option, and by the way, not everyone who's vegan likes the same thing, or the option they have is kind of weird, because I just came back from Fuerteventura and I stayed in a hotel there, and the vegan options were not good. Not good. They tried really hard, but they weren't that amazing, really. So again, if you're online, welcome. And if you have any questions, please put the questions in the comment section below. So do you have any questions for me, Pablo?
Yes, I would like to know, there are two areas. One will be the school setting, where you're talking about high schools, elementary schools, and then universities. Throughout our system of education, many of our schools, pretty much all of them implement the vegetarian option, but they are presented in two different lights. On the elementary and secondary schools, I normally notice that they are, as you mentioned, is the only option available, while in universities normally is one of the options available. Now, what would you recommend as a parent how can parents direct their kids to say what is the best thing to choose, or what is the education that they need to have to be able to understand what kind of food they are ingesting, or what kind of food is being served in their schools or their universities?
This is interesting because I'm actually not a parent, but I do a lot of work with schools and so forth. I would say, and I was not brought up a vegetarian. My parents are Adventists as well, and I was brought up in the church, and I was brought up to uphold vegetarianism. But I was not brought up a vegetarian. I became a vegetarian when I was 18, and then I became a vegan about 6 years ago. So I've lived kind of eating in two different ways. My parents gave me the option to choose. Now, I think in terms of how you bring up your children, everyone has different styles, but I think everyone should have a choice. For me, I always think I like to present people with the facts, and then how they make the choice is up to them. For parents, I'm not a parent, but if I was a parent, I would present the facts to my children and say, this is what my thoughts are. This is what the benefits are of eating meat, of not eating meat, and this is what the benefits are of a vegan diet. I wouldn't say to them, you have to be a vegan. I'd just say, you choose what you want to do. Because everybody has to have a choice. Because you have to become a vegan because you want to, not because somebody tells you you have to. But I think it's about people being presented with the facts and learning that it's actually a lot easier to eat a plant-based diet than a lot of people think. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's a plant-based diet, I don't know what to do. But it's a lot easier than people think. Well, I live in London, and it's actually not too difficult at all. Sometimes eating out can be a little bit of a pain, but in general, veganism is really on the rise in London, in the UK in general. So hello to everybody online. I can see lots of people logging in. Welcome. So that would be my advice. For schools, if I was running a school, I would personally, obviously, because I'm a vegan, I would make it a plant-based diet, but I would kind of experiment with the different flavors. So we may have a Mexican day, we may have a Swedish day, we may have a Caribbean day, have different types of vegan food, because sometimes people think all vegan food is the same, and they just think of it as it's going to be salad and some tofu and that's it. And there's just so much more to vegan food than that. So for schools, I think they should teach the young people how to cook plant-based diets and get them to experiment and learn how to use flavors from their, that they would use at home in their culture and countries of origin. What sort of flavors would you put in a particular dish, and get them to learn that you can transfer those same flavors into a plant-based diet. And, there's such a rich array of choices when you're a vegan, much more than people think. So I think, again, it's about education. So it's not forcing anyone or saying you have to, or looking down at anyone because you're not a vegan. It's just basically giving them some information and saying, this is a choice that you can make as well. Again, if you have any questions online, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. I'm not sure if I'm looking at this right. See them. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. Questions for yourself. Do you find that the young people are quite welcoming in the universities to a plant-based diet?
No. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's true. As I said before, most schools and universities that I have visited in every continent, there are always some sort of complaint about the cafeteria, whether it's in the US, in Europe, and about the food that's being presented. And I think that now, as I was preparing for our talk, for our chat, I was reading about it, and I think I came across a verse from E.G. White that says, "No, let the diet reform be progressive. Teach them and show them the difference of what healthy foods can do in their life." And I think that is really the key part for our schools, that maybe as teachers, as parents, or as students, we can actually help the institution to understand that they're changing our lives, whether it is by the academics that are being taught to us, or by the food that is being presented to us, or the sports or the different health activities that are being held on campus. I have been in schools that they actually are not vegetarian, that Adventist schools that actually serve meat, to give the students the options. And whether it's a very difficult topic to discuss, whether Adventist schools should be serving meat in the cafeteria. And I have had it with a number of AAA persons before, and accreditation body is always a topic that comes in discussion. The question is really, are our schools really showing people what is the difference, or giving them a message that they can try and they can see, oh, look, this is actually different. I think that is the goal in every educational setting, whether it is in the diet, or it is in their knowledge that is being imparted, or whether it is in the social aspect. They should have an experience, and I think that that's what Jesus was all about, to give the people an experience that they will be able to see it, how it's practical. So I personally, after so much arguments, I have come to the realization that it's not whether the school forces a specific diet, but is whether they are actually being able to give the people, show them that this can be better for them. Even myself, when I was in college myself, in Washington, D.C., in Maryland, I went to Washington Adventist College at the time. And one of the professors actually dared us to be vegans for a week. And they told us, look, go to the cafeteria and only eat this food. And they give us actually a menu that said, look, eat like this for a week. And then you tell me how you feel. And I tell you, from the group that actually did it, many of us saw the difference. And that actually changes the way that you think about your food. And I think that that is really the purpose of our schools, to in some way, some different strategy, make the students see that difference. You know, make the parents see, oh, this is healthier. My kid is getting sick less, or my kid is having this change in his life because of the food that's being prepared, or a guide of what kind of snacks the kids should bring to school, or what kind of foods they should choose from the menu. I think those things might actually make a big difference in making an impact, whether it is experiential. You know, they can actually live it.
I think traditionally, as you said earlier in this conversation, that people generally, if you're at school or college or university, you don't usually, because you have, you get used to the food. Traditionally people don't usually like school dinners or university food. But I think a suggestion of something that universities could try is to perhaps run some recipe competitions, or just say, yeah, bring your recipes, bring your suggestions, have a suggestion box for recipes, and maybe, once or twice a week, we're going to have like recipe of the week, and they can say, yes, today's recipe was suggested by so-and-so, and, stick their picture up on the wall. A bit like employee of the month or employee of the week. Hi to Veronica, tuning in. Like employee of the week or the month, you can have recipe of the month. So you can basically mold the menu, or have the menu have a lot of input from the students themselves. That kind of thing. I think there's always different things you can do, and perhaps maybe they could have a few different students suggest recipes over a week, and then the students could vote for which they thought was the tastiest to get a bit more enthused about it. I think it worked really well.
Yeah, correct. That's actually very good. Yeah, I think it's things that little things that the schools can do to actually make an impact, and let them feel that the food they eat is actually have an impact on their lives. right. And
Okay.
I think one point that you brought forward, I'm not sure what some of our viewers can think, is about understanding clearly the difference between being vegetarian, being vegan, or the different options that they have, and what are the benefits of them. I think those is something that we can actually that maybe people can actually benefit from as well.
Okay. Shall I explain what the differences are?
Sure, please go ahead.
So hello to Inspiring Esther, and hello to Veronica as well. They just tuned in. Now, vegans, you have vegans, vegetarians, flexitarians, and pescatarians. And then you have people who are confused. So I'll go through that. Vegan is someone who eats no meat, no fish, no eggs, and no dairy, and no honey. So vegan is no meat, no fish, no eggs, no dairy, no honey. A vegetarian has no meat and no fish. A flexitarian is somebody who isn't a vegan or vegetarian, but they do have a strong interest in vegan food, and they like to have vegan options and cook vegan food every now and again. A pescatarian is somebody who eats fish, but they don't eat meat. Now, the challenge we have is there's people, I mean, I went to a wedding once and I said, oh, I ordered the vegan option. And they went, oh, yeah, no problem. The fish is coming in a moment. And
Yes.
the problem we have is there are people who eat fish and call themselves vegetarian or call themselves vegan. I'm sorry they're confused, because if you eat fish, you're not vegan and you're not vegetarian, you're pescatarian. And if you sometimes eat meat and you're 90% vegan, you're not vegan, you're flexitarian. So that's where the confusion comes in, where people give themselves a label that is actually not what it should be. So I hope that helps. And hi to everybody. KK Rini just joined. Thank you for logging in. There's quite a lot of people logging in today. And if you have any questions, you can either direct message me, direct message Adventist Universities, or comment in the comment section below. But we're going to have to bring this to an end in a short while. So I just want to thank Pablo Rios for tuning in today. We should do this more often.
A pleasure. Yes, please, anytime. It's very interesting to see how we can share our ministries, our passions, and actually bring a little bit of difference to the people. And even to the ministry, what the church is doing. I'm sure that some of the schools will be looking at the video later on, and they can take some tips from what you have said.
And I'll also, what we could do is a cooking one. So what I could do is cook something, and then you can talk, be online, do an Instagram live while I'm cooking some stuff on camera. When I figured out how to use my phone camera to cook and talk at the same time. So,
okay, a pleasure.
Person who has logged in, Tina Michelle, and everybody, Lloyd Reed, everyone who's logged in, thank you so much for logging in today. And thank you to Pablo Rios, and thank you to Adventist University. Eat good, eat clean, eat best. Thank you so much. God bless. See you all next time.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.